What's up guys, Chad Daddy here. Killed Silken court last night with my main guild. A re-kill. We 3-healed, did quite a bit of HPS. And I figured I would make a commentary over it, just to give you guys some better advice. Point out some mistakes, what we can do better. Alright, let's get started. I'm gonna talk fast, there's gonna be no pauses, so let's fucking rip. My first ramp here is going to be a super cosmetic ramp. It doesn't do anything really. You don't need to do it at all. It is a Mind Blast Rad, and I just aim to have the Entropic Rift expire into a couple of atonements as the webs go out. So you'll see me send it now after the frontal. If you play this fight in the middle, it's going to be far easier than shown here. I do not play the middle. 19 seconds-ish on the combat timer. I start this ramp. This is Evanch. I'm looking to hit ranged players standing in the middle, such that they do not ruin my radiances. I go into Rad here, and I'm a little bit late. Don't have full coverage because of a mistake, but that's okay. We are chilling. We're doing quite a bit of HPS here, and I move in because I'm a bit too far with the webs. Here, we see that the boss moves in this position, which is the good one if you are not playing in the middle like me. If you are playing in the middle, then none of these matter. You can always send safely 2 Radiances and a Mind Blast into this rain dot. I move to grab my orb, and I start my Mind Blast Rad. Almost got outranged there, but we managed. Do not greed for Void Wraith here. It is not a gain in HPS at all. It is just cosmetic, and it just puts you at risk. Going in here, we have the next bird eruption, and that's my next ramp. And I start this ramp roughly at 1 minute and 22 seconds. This is where I call for spatial, not the intermission. I'll show you how to play the intermission without spatial to solve that. So I get spatial here. If you're in the middle, you probably don't need this. But because I'm not in the middle, I need spatial here. If you're playing in the middle, spatial is probably better in the intermission. Boss jumps away. I switch targets, and the phase is ended. At this point, I send another Mind Blast simply for damage. Good phase 1. Going into the intermission then, we want to dot the boss, and we want to make sure we start our evangelism ramp going into the intermission at 0 on the intermission timer on bigwigs. So you'll see me do that here, and I start 0 on the intermission timer. This intermission timer can get pushed back a little bit if she casts a poison bolt, so be aware of that. And then I try to hit people that are playing far out, and then I go rad. And you can see that if you start at 0, you end up in the spot where you need to plant. So you can easily finish your ramp. Your evangelism and your Void Wraith globals fit perfectly into the bait movement. And then you move back as you send your instant globals. We finish this ramp off, and then we go into the next one. So this ramp, if you don't finish this intermission as early as we're going to do here, would be the exact same. You're gonna end up here as well, and you send your Radiance and you send your Shadow Death into Devour Matter. Instead, I pick our health back up here. The next ramp is gonna be Dispel debuffs, coming in 15. This ramp, I start at roughly 8 seconds on the Dispel debuffs, I think a little bit later even. Mostly because the damage doesn't actually happen immediately as they go out. You don't Dispel as fast as they go out, so you'd just be hitting the remainder of the web vortex damage. We move over. I've hit most blue players with atonements here, just in case I go too far away from them, my opposite team. And we do a bunch of healing here into the Dispels going off. Pick players back up. Make sure I get my Dispels off. Alright, and then we send a Mind Blast here as we get the damage amp to full power. I'm watching my feet, don't want to run into the homies of the other color. Here, I'm going to start ramping into air. Don't do that. It turns out that if you send atonements that you don't aim to do anything with, that's bad. I didn't know that apparently here, because I'm a moron and had a stroke. So don't do that. We are going to have the boss move to a wall now, so I'm really ready here. I'm ready to press Angelic Feather. I'm ready to dial the fuck in and start my ramp here for the Dispel debuffs, and this is Evangelism. I panic here, and you'll see what happens. So, I panic. I save the movement, but everything else is going to be a little bit whack. I end up sending a Rapture Ramp cast sequence here instead of an Evangelism cast sequence, which means that I'm not doing as much healing here. I don't get my full Entropic Rift value, really. I don't get to crank as much as I could at all. But we did some healing. It's okay. Same thing here again. We get to send another Mind Blast here. as this damage amp goes to full. Alright. Next ramp is going to be the intermission ramp for the first Seismic upheaval. I'm going to go into this with a Void Wraith. I made a mistake here and sent Rapture, but usually I send Rapture for the second ramp in this intermission. The reason I sent Void Wraith here is because I struggled with the CDR if I didn't for the first ramp in phase 3. So here, I sent Shadow Death as a high priority, again, because of Devour Matter. Devour Matter makes us do so much more damage with Shadow Death into shields. And then I start my ramp here for the Seismic Upheaval. Ideally, I have Rapture here. Ideally, I've also been more proactive and patient with my movement and don't end up in a corner like this. Another mistake, something that you can smooth out. It's my bad. And you can see here that my first global is going to be Shadow Death, because that is by far the biggest heal we have in those scenarios, where we have a shield on our enemy. Good stuff. Alright, so next is the huge overlap in phase 3. Going into my bags looking for a mana pot. But yeah, so here I'm ramping for the Web Vortex because it is the damage event in the middle of everything, and I can hit it with Spatial. This lets me get crazy gas here, so you'll see me do the craziest ramp ever. We get pulled in, everybody's low, I pick everyone back up and heal them up for the Burrowed Eruption after. We're still low from the Swarm as well, just a lot of gas here. We're in Execute range as well, so we got some value out of that. And the Burrowed Eruption goes off, still have some atonements left and still doing some healing. But here I send a mini ramp, Mind Blast and a Rad into the damage amp again. Help us pick us up. We want to be further away there though, to bait this frontal away from the boss to maximize damage. Next ramp here I'm going to send too early. I want to send this into the Dispel debuffs, but I end up sending it far too early here. So you'll see me ramp now, which means I will miss it. You want to start this ramp the same as every other Dispel ramp. 6 seconds on the Dispel debuffs even here. And we want to break this web as well, and I do that quite late. But yeah, I kind of just pick us back up here after the Web Vortex instead of just actually hitting the debuffs. So that's my bad. But you'll see me try to save this by going into a mini ramp on the boss, sending a Mind Blast, trying to send a Radiance. I instead just miss my Mind Blast and mess up a lot, lose a ton of HPS here. So this was really, really silly of me. We could have definitely squeezed out some more healing here for sure. But other than that, good pull. Lots to improve on, obviously, still. But yeah, very solid. Alright. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hopefully I can make some more videos before the end of the season. If not, yeah, I look forward to seeing you all in 11.1. Goodbye, and thank you for watching.